What's happening, guys? So, apologies. Obviously, I didn't send the Zoom link out there this morning because, I haven't done a school run for a week and a half, so I'm all over the place. But anyway, right, let's get started. Right, first things first. I just wanted to say, markets have been horrible. All right. I'm pretty sure we've done well. It hasn't been a huge week. Yesterday morning we did well. Yesterday afternoon, I think your USD was the only one that triggered, and we could come out in a bit of profit. So, but obviously, yeah, all the week hasn't been the nicest week, but obviously, win rates haven't been too bad. We've had 80, 62, 62 and a half, 62 and a half, 83. So pretty happy. But obviously, yeah, it's one of those weeks where I'm actually more happy with this week than I would have been this week here because I think it's been, we've managed it really, really well. I've spoke to a lot of guys this week who have been caught out. And yeah, I don't feel like we've ever been in a point where we've been caught out. And so that's obviously one positive. So well done to everyone. Right, let's go through what is happening and why. So dollar, sentiment has, shifted a little, macro statement in. But obviously everything is, like we mentioned, you've got to keep an eye on yields where they are, what they're doing. They seem to be trending nicely to the upside here. That's what's putting some strength in the dollar. That's what's bringing gold to the downside. And obviously, that is, overall, yesterday afternoon was a prime one where, we obviously had this turnaround on, yields, but markets have been playing. So I'm just going to highlight gold, for example. Yesterday, yields had this massive pump up yesterday, right? Gold didn't have it. All right. It didn't have it at all. So you can see it. It kind of had a little bit, but then it pulled back. So nothing is kind of lining up how it would normally, line up. Which it isn't a problem. Look, this is trading, and we know that from a larger scale level, it's always going to be manipulated. So we've obviously got to, make sure that we're obviously on the right, right side of it. So obviously that is what is important here. Um, so yeah, that's overall here, dollar trending to the upside. We can't ignore it now. We've obviously had this bottom here. We're obviously starting to trend up nicely. Yields too. We've obviously looks like we've had this bottom here, and obviously again starting to trend up. Nicely. We've got to keep an eye on this until obviously trend breaks or something comes out to obviously change that. Stocks, interestingly enough, are also up a bit. Still, obviously, everything's round about all-time highs. So there is a bit of risk appetite. So as you can see here, we got complete, kind of mixed ratios here of obviously what is happening. And so, it's very, very hard. So if you're in 1% profit this week or 3% profit, even if you're 3% down, yeah, yesterday was an account blowing day, especially on gold. Not because we've had a crazy move, but because of the, wild kind of, moves. It was a bit like this yesterday. It was crazy. So it didn't really, range was relatively small, but it was just wild. So yeah, so make sure your expectations aren't too high, because you obviously want to, yeah, make sure that you are happy and comfortable with obviously what's happening. So obviously UK have had retail sales come out a little bit down, but everything's as expected. So nothing really major to obviously affect the pound. We've obviously got later on, nothing really in regards to that's going to change anything. So we're obviously gonna have a continuation of obviously what's been happening. I do think we're gonna have some Friday flows because at the moment everything happens at the weekend, and I think that we obviously have to be aware that because everything happens at the weekend, we've yeah, Fridays and Mondays have been a bit of a swinging up and down day. So I do want to be out. I might stay away from gold a bit later on, or if it looks good, then potentially we'll stay in it. But yeah, I'll keep obviously everyone updated on that kind of respect here. So let's go again. The trades we didn't choose. I don't like USDJPY. It's starting to trend a bit, but it's in this area here. This zone that I was speaking about was we know. No, I mean, it's pretty much a guaranteed that 160 will get hit. It's probably I'd say about a 90% buy trade. It's just the stop loss. I don't know where I'd want to put it. But obviously, there's also worry that if you leave it as a swing trade, then there is potential for us obviously to be caught massively, and I would imagine it'll be a market gap, which will catch everybody out. Make brokers a lot of money. Lots of the brokers that you would have heard of would know are actually Japanese, Chinese owned. So it's going to benefit them on a small scale. But yeah, so just obviously be aware of that. But that's why I'm staying away. Even though it looks like we're in this nice trend here, we're still in consolidation. But remember, this is intervention territory here. All right, because it is too expensive. And obviously, for those of you who haven't been on any of the calls, I have done YouTube videos on this, so go and watch it. But obviously, Japan import everything. All right, they obviously tried to create their own energy, but obviously, and then obviously they were utilizing that with Hiroshima, and obviously since that's happened, they have not really put a lot of their budget in. So obviously they're big importers. So obviously the yen can't be too weak against the dollar because obviously they're buying everything in dollars. So the straw once it gets to that 60 territory, it's then costing them a lot of money to buy stuff that they normally would. So we obviously have to keep an eye on that, or they have to keep an eye on that. So they are one of the only currencies or countries who actually who are happy to control the price of obviously their currency. And I guess that Trump is doing that a little bit, with obviously his mad tweets and all of that stuff. And then we obviously got Aussie, don't really like it. Yeah, it's not really doing a lot. If you look, we opened here or closed here on Friday, or sorry, opened here, Sunday. And we're round about these levels here. As if you look at obviously, euro close below, pounds close below, so this is a really nice level of, support here. We've obviously got the Sunday open on both pound and, euro. So I really, really, like probably pound. I really, 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 like this because this will be a major level of support resistance here. So yeah, because obviously that's where market opened up. So it'd be really, really interesting. But yeah, pound dollar, I wanted to obviously play it a little bit, safer, and it's been working very, very well this week. But obviously, as you can see here, like what a, level to obviously come up and test. This should hold. It's going to be a very, very hard level to break. There's a reason why market opened here this week. So, it took sort of 3 or 4 tries to break through it. Once it's break through, it hasn't come back and retested yet. So I'm expecting a bit of a continuation. Euro, similar. We've got a lot of price build up hit here. I don't think obviously similar to pound. I don't think this area will get triggered. However, I like this area here. There's a lot of price confusion here. So I like the idea of it coming up here and then dipping down. Last but not least, gold, similar trending to the downside now. You can't look to buy it, as you can see here. we can't be looking to buy this. So I like the idea of it coming up, hitting the top of this channel. There's been a lot of, again, build up here. So I like the idea of this entry here to the downside, but not pushing it too hard either, only targeting these areas here, so we're only targeting this kind of area here. Nothing, major. We're not trying to reinvent the whale and have our TP all the way down here. We're being realistic. So that's obviously how I'm gearing up for this morning. Um, let's obviously just go through gold because I had a few questions yesterday, but this was obviously move number one. All right, move number one here, no pullbacks. All right. Move number two here, no pullbacks. All right, again, move number three here, no pullbacks. Oh, let's go back here. So we'll work all of these out. All right, so you've got a 560 pip move here, no pullbacks, consolidation. 500, there we go. So five, yeah, 700 pip move here, no pullbacks. 560 pip move here, no pullbacks. It was, normally we'd expect this price action here. All right. Gold, nice bit of pullback beforehand. But obviously, this was, we've broken, lows here cleanly. Everyone, even I was on my bigger trades, was obviously looking to, sell yesterday, and obviously, luckily we weren't in it on the big account. We had our entry, I think, of 4,750, because obviously that's probably where everyone's stop losses were. So obviously that's where our entry was. So obviously that didn't trigger for us, but obviously that's what kept us out. We caught this move here. We stayed out. And then obviously, yeah, but it was, this price action on gold. If you're a gold trader, you got to understand gold will always have days like this. And obviously, you can't change your, strategy at any time. So you've got to roll with, I reckon, once every 3 weeks, once every month, there will be a day where you're just going to get caught. All right. And obviously, that is how gold, w works out. Um, so I got here from Alex. Why did gold pump yesterday so much? There's no pump here, and I did mention on the live at the beginning of the week, yields are what's going to be the important one. So obviously gold, yields dumped off. That put obviously that put money into gold, but obviously there is no right or wrong reason. Yes, yesterday. Yes, we've obviously ended the day bearish, but it was all over the place. And obviously, sometimes higher time frames don't show this, but these three moves here, like normally you'd get one of these moves, all right? You wouldn't get, you know, basically our overall range yesterday was, 700 pips, which isn't a lot for gold, but it was like wild, 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 wild. So yeah, hopefully we obviously won't have another day like that today, but obviously, yeah, it's just because no one understands where market's going to go. We've got obviously, potential escalation of, Iran, US slash Israel. We've got potential de-escalation of Iran slash Israel. They're obviously having the boats there. There are three Iranian boats attacked, but obviously Trump has also said that he's happy to extend the, ceasefire. So there is two contradicting opinions there. We've also got inflation worries. All the Fed members have now come out and said, we can't see us cutting interest rates, for the foreseeable future. That's obviously going to put money into the dollar. You've then got it's just everything is all over the place. But then it's not only the dollar because the Bank of England have come out and said it. Euro have come out and said it. So everyone is all over the place. It's a very messy time. So I mean, let's have a look. I didn't look yesterday, but let's just have a look at oil. Oil's still around about that, 95 to 100 level, still expensive, still showing that there's escalation here. If de-escalation was there, then potentially we'd be trading down here, but that's obviously not happening. So hoping the copier can have a blinding day. Yep, me too. So I've inputted with the team that we're not going to have any more than 6% max kind of loss. We did have it at like 10, but obviously, yeah, because of yesterday, they obviously had to push a few things, but obviously we're going to implement that. That's not going to happen. So, because I think we're about 6.5% down this week on the copier, but then we're about 8% up overall, 8-9% up. So yeah, we've got, it's going to take us probably today and the rest of next week, and then I think we'll be obviously back above where we were, and obviously then we can, continue. But we've always got to tighten up some stipulations, and but trading gold, everyone has to be aware that there's always going to be days where you're going to be caught. But obviously, main thing is, stop losses, always have them, and obviously you won't be caught as well. I mean, I had three of you guys trading gold yesterday. Unfortunately, obviously blue accounts, not obviously on the copier. And obviously it's about mitigating that, risk because that is where gold can trap you. All right. Everyone's trying to, sell from here. And then what do? They try and buy from here and market does this. And then they try and sell from here and market does this. Yesterday was a classic. It was a classic retail trap where it was just, momentum here was to the downside. Everyone's then starting to sell. They get caught. What then happens? They look at this as, support. They then start to buy. What ends up happening? Market crushes you. Right, we're then looking at, potentially this as, um, resistance, and it's all, yeah, it was a very, very hard day yesterday. So yeah. But right, I'm going to end it here. I've got a school run. We obviously haven't had anything trigger yet. I would like these to trigger. I think pound would be my absolute favorite just because of this, level here is on point. So yeah, I'd like that to trigger. So yeah, let's wait and see, and then we can then play it from there. So yeah, right. I hope everyone has a great day, and yeah, I'll keep you guys updated throughout the day, and let's make sure we finish green. Have a good one, team. Have a good one.